Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Madison, or Dandelion. I am so excited to be filming another video for you all because I just hit my 100th video here on YouTube and I just hit 5,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. Every single one of you who's hit that subscribe button, I appreciate you so much and I will not let you down. Also, quick side note, today's my birthday. But today we are doing another deity spotlight. Today I will be talking about the ancient Egyptian god Set. And Set is the god of chaos, violence, and confusion. And we're going to get more into what he's the god of shortly. If you already work with Set, then put down in the comments what your experience of him is and why you like working with him, the kind of things you do with him. But before we get started, I want to remind you all that every time I do a deity spotlight, my channel members vote on which deity we're going to do. So if you want to have say in which deity I make a spotlight on next, become a member of my channel, hit that join button down below this video, and become a member to be able to vote in these members-only polls. They get put up on the community tab of my YouTube channel, and I post them every single time I'm about to do a video. So I put up 4 deities and my members get to vote on which deity they most want to see first. So become a member of my channel if you want to be able to vote in these exclusive members-only polls. The next one will be going up today. So let's talk about Set. Set is the son of Geb and Nut. Geb is the ancient Egyptian deity representing the earth, and Nut is the ancient Egyptian deity representing the sky. So Set is a product of these two deities. And Set's siblings are Osiris, Isis, and Nephthys. And in true mythological fashion, Set married his sister. So if you know anything about ancient Egyptian deities, you'll know that Osiris and Isis, who are brother and sister, are married, and Set and Nephthys also got married. And together, Set and Nephthys fathered Anubis. And if you want to know more about Anubis, I do have a video here on my channel all about Anubis, so check that out. That's linked down below. Set was originally a desert deity, so he represented confusion and illusion, the aspects of our world that are hard to understand or maybe trip us up and make us feel confused, which is very much so how the desert feels. So Set represents the forces of disturbance and confusion. Set is one of the Egyptian deities that we see historically being around from the very beginning of ancient Egypt. Even just from knowing who Set's child is, who Set marries, who Set's siblings are and parents are, we can see that Set has been around for a long time. Geb and Nut are among the first group of deities in ancient Egyptian mythology that become introduced. And then from there, Osiris, Isis, Anubis, Set, these are the biggest and some of the first and most important ancient Egyptian deities. Over time, though, Set, unlike a lot of the other deities that he's kind of grouped in with, his siblings and even his son Anubis, Set starts to lose prominence over time. And here's Giles! Right on cue, buddy. So evidence of Set declines after the 20th dynasty. And this is partially because within ancient Egypt, as time goes on, Set moves from not only being associated with the desert, but also being associated with foreign lands and Egypt's enemies. So for that reason, a lot of ancient Egyptian citizens were not continuing to work with Set because Set represented their enemies. So by the 25th dynasty, worship of Set was not widespread at all. Set is known as the Red One, an ill-tempered god that personifies rage and anger. He's often said to be evil. He represents chaos and evil. So he is evil, or if you are like me and you are Wiccan, so you don't believe in evil, he represents chaos and the shadow. And Set opposes the harmony of Maat. Within ancient Egyptian thought and ancient Egyptian belief, Maat represents harmony and truth, so Set is in opposition to that. And as a desert god, Set is known for being against the growth of things, so he can harm plant life, he can harm vegetation, he takes away nutrients, he keeps things from growing. Set is a foe of Osiris, and I have videos on Isis and Anubis. We haven't done Osiris yet, but In those videos about Isis and Anubis, I tell this story I'm about to tell also in those. So if you want to know a bit about those deities or a bit more about the story in terms of Isis or Anubis, then check out those videos. They're linked down below. Osiris is the rightful king of Egypt, and Set was never okay with this. So there is a story of Set killing Osiris. At a gathering of the gods, Set had a box made to perfectly fit Osiris's body. And remember that mythology gets a little skewed over time, and there are different versions and different iterations, but the story overall is the same. So the story I tell might be a little bit different than something that you hear from someone else or something that you read in a book or online. That's perfectly normal. They're all right. They're just a little bit different versions with different details. But at a gathering of the gods, Set brings with him a box that he had made to perfectly fit Osiris's body. Set then tricks everybody, in true Set fashion, into trying to see if they fit in the box. So each god takes turns seeing if they'll fit in the box. And when it comes to be Osiris's turn, Set of course knows that Osiris will fit perfectly in the box. So Osiris gets in the box, he fits perfectly, Set closes it and locks him inside. Now this is where the story has a few different versions. In one version, Set kills Osiris, dismembers his body, and scatters the pieces all throughout Egypt. In another version, Set hides Osiris's body in a tree. But either way, Osiris's wife, Isis, then sets out to find and save Osiris and resurrect him. Isis does find Osiris, and she does bring him back to life with the help of Anubis. Osiris becomes the first mummy. So Set's plan is foiled. Osiris lives. But while this is going on, Set is now also, after killing Osiris, is now battling with Osiris's heir, Horus, Osiris's son, battling with Horus for the throne. And this goes on for years and years and years. Set and Horus fighting over the throne. Horus being the rightful heir to Osiris, and Set being the vengeful sibling of Osiris who wants the throne for himself. And during these years of fighting, Set at one point puts out one of Horus's eyes, and Horus in turn castrates Set. For Set specifically, Horus castrating him is very symbolic of the amount of power that Horus takes from him with this castration. Set is a god that is associated with rage and violence of all kinds, including sexual violence and unnatural sexual desires. So by castrating Set, Horus is taking a lot of Set's power. Set is also connected with rebellion and strife and hardship. Really any form of chaos and shadow, Set is associated with. There are even stories that say that Set freed himself from his mother at birth by ripping himself out of her belly. And Nephthys, remember Set's wife and sister, leaves him at one point because she's so fed up with him. And she leaves to become a follower of Horus. Another consort of Set that ends up leaving him for Horus is the hippopotamus deity Taweret. Set is also associated with the goddesses Astarte and Anat. And in the pyramid texts, Set is also associated with the goddess Neith. You can also see in funerary texts from ancient Egypt that Set is said to lurk in the netherworld and wait for a being to die to seize their soul. And it's said that we can see Set's influence around us through the problems that our society faces. So Set really represents the overreaching elements of chaos and strife within our society and within our lives. So plagues, epidemics, illness, political issues, corruption within government, all these things can be linked to Set. War, foreign invasion, civil unrest, all these things are connected to Set. Set is also associated with bad weather and storms, and he is said to be the god of the raging sea. Set in mythology is also associated with the god Apophis and the Greek god Typhon. And all this being said, it's not as if Set's powers can't be used for good. It's just that he doesn't like using them for good. He's more interested in the chaos and the shadow. But it's kind of like, and this is a silly comparison, but one that I think a lot of people can easily understand, so I'll use it, but it's kind of like Slytherins. A lot of them can be bad, but it doesn't mean they're inherently bad. Like Slytherins, Set is known for being cunning and using his wit and his charm, which can be used for good. So his powers can be used for good things. He's a god of strength and protective power, but he also is very chaotic, and he uses his strength and his cunning and his charm and his wit to be as chaotic as possible. One positive thing that is said about Set is his great strength, and it's said that his scepter that he is often seen holding in depictions of him is said to weigh 4,500 pounds, or 2,000 kilograms. So a very, very heavy scepter that he holds with ease. Set is also said to be the god of metals. Iron, specifically, which is the hardest metal, was called by Egyptians the bones of Set. And in the pyramid texts, the strength of Set is what the pharaoh claims as he dies. And many living pharaohs, while they were ruling, linked themselves to Set as a sign of strength and power. Tutmosis III called himself beloved of Set. So again, Set is associated with the deity Apophis, but he is also charged with protecting the pharaoh from Apophis. Apophis is a serpent deity. One story of Set using his cunning for a little bit more of a good thing, a positive thing, is when Set saves the goddess Astarte. Set uses his cunning, his wit, and his strength to protect this goddess from the sea god Yam, who decided he wanted her as tribute. So Set can be called upon to remove obstacles, to remove problems, to remove adverse conditions, and to ease storms, whether they're literal physical weather storms or other kinds of storms in your life that are keeping you from getting where you're going. So let's talk a little bit about how Set is depicted, how we can see him depicted in statues, in illustrations, in carvings. What does he look like? Set was originally depicted as an animal with a curved head, tall square-topped ears, and an erect arrow-like tail. Early depictions of Set, you see him standing, but later on, you'll see him pretty much exclusively either crouching or sitting. Set is very strongly associated with the pharaohs of the Ramses dynasty. There are monuments where Set is seen protecting the pharaoh, in the same manner that in other monuments for other pharaohs, we see Horus protecting the pharaoh. So there are some monuments where Set is in place of Horus, which I'm sure makes him very happy. In later depictions of Set, you'll see him impaled with a knife, and this was a means to kind of negate Set's power and protect oneself from Set by depicting him as wounded. This counteracted any potential harmful effects of the image of Set would have by including that knife. And as time goes on, Set starts to be depicted as part man. So you'll see Set with the body of a man and the head of that animal that I described before. Sometimes Set is seen wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt, or sometimes even the double crown representing the unity of all Egypt. Sometimes Set and Horus are depicted as one two-headed deity, again symbolizing the union of Upper and Lower Egypt, as Set was more associated with Upper Egypt and Horus more so ruled Lower Egypt. Set also can be depicted as any of the disliked creatures within Egypt. So any of the animals within ancient Egypt that were seen as cumbersome or problematic or in the way or violent or annoying, they could often be linked to Set or even drawn to symbolize Set. So some of these animals that are associated with Set are antelopes, goats, pigs, donkeys, hippopotamus, crocodiles, and certain fish. In the first millennium BC, drawings of Set disappear and are often replaced with drawings of Set as a donkey with a knife in its head. And something that was commonplace was the sacrifice of Sethian animals. So these animals I listed that were seen as representations of Set were often sacrificed. From early times, a red ox that represented Set would be sacrificed. There's also a ritual called strangling of the desert bird. There's another important ritual involving the hippopotamus, where the pharaoh would go out in hunt of a hippopotamus, kind of symbolizing their hunt and their power over Set. And they would kill this hippo, and that would represent killing Set, neutralizing the powers of Set. This was the royal hippo hunt. Also, the birthday of Set is said to be an unlucky day. And ancient Egyptians would destroy wax figures of Set to protect themselves from him. So let's talk a little bit about if you're looking to work with Set, how would you do that? What would you do with him? So first of all, disclaimer, Set is very difficult to work with. He's a trickster. He loves chaos. He will mess with you. He is not for the faint of heart. He's got his own agenda and he's got his own goals and his own plans, and he doesn't really care what you have to say about them. So you can work with Set, but do so with caution. Be careful. Don't jump into it if you're a new practitioner, if you're a beginner. Only start to work with Set when you're ready. I would say that Set is in the group with some of these deities that are more of the shadow, that are a little bit more difficult to work with, and Set, in my opinion, is right there at the top of the list. So be careful when working with Set. Not saying that you can't work with Set or that working with Set isn't possible or unsafe, but working with Set can be tricky, messy, difficult. Just be careful. But as we said, Set is great to work with for protection. It might seem counterintuitive, him being a chaotic and shadow deity, but those powers can be used for good. So if you want to keep Set from messing with you in whatever certain situation, you can do that with him. Even things like the ancient Egyptians did, destroying a wax figure of him, or depicting him with a knife in his body or in his head, is a great way to neutralize Set from anything that he might do to you. You can also work with Set to ease bad weather, ease a storm, ease any adverse conditions. Maybe something has gotten in your way that isn't necessarily physical. Maybe there's something that's keeping you from a goal that you've set. You can do something with Set to remove that obstacle and remove that adverse condition. Weather magic in general is great to do with Set. Calling on a storm or even helping a storm to subside are both things that you can do with Set. And of course, as every deity that's of the shadow and of the chaos, you can do hexes, curses, banishing, binding with Set. I would say that's one of the best things to do with Set, along with weather magic. Working with Set to hex somebody or even remove a hex from yourself if you feel that you've been cursed or hexed. Banishings and bindings are great to do with Set, that kind of boundary setting kind of thing. Set loves revenge. Set loves his version of justice. So anything like that where you're protecting yourself in a little bit more of an aggressive way, he's happy to help you with that. So again, just a quick little recap of some of the correspondences of Set. He's associated with all those animals I named before. He's strongly associated with the color red most, but also black. If you don't have anything red, like a red candle, you can also use a black candle if you're doing a spell with Set, but red is the best candle to use for Set. And in terms of the zodiac and the planets, Set is strongly associated with Scorpio and with the planet Mars. So that is all the information I have to share with you all about the ancient Egyptian god Set. I hope that this was helpful and that you have a little bit more of an understanding and a grasp on who Set is as a deity. If you move on to work with Set, then I wish you two all the best, and I hope you guys have some chaotic fun together, some safe chaotic fun. Remember that everything you do comes back threefold, so be careful out there. But do what you will. And I hope that you'll gather from this video that Set is not all bad. Somebody's got to do the chaos. Somebody's got to fuck shit up. Somebody's got to mess around with this stuff. And Set is more than happy to be the person to fill that role. So Set has good qualities. Set has bad qualities. Set has powers that are so strong. You just got to decide how to direct them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe and maybe even become a member of my channel by hitting that join button down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Blessed be.